I've talked about this so many times on this channel, and I talk about it every time somebody contacts me to get their dog trained. We're living in a society of unrealistic people. We have 4 million dogs being put down every year. We have 4 million people getting bit every year. 50% of those are children, the other 50% is adults. So adults are not immune. It's an unrealistic society. People see Lassie or whatever, or they have some experience as a kid with dogs, and they think that it's some way that it's not. And if you have a trained dog, the trained dog is essentially learning a language. And the language, the tone that they're learning is from the trainer. So somebody with a trained dog, say that they send their dog off to get trained at a board and train. Now we're talking about a balance trainer, not a food trainer. You send your dog off to get food trained with a food trainer, you just wasted your money anyway, but you're just bribing the dog. But you contact an actual dog trainer, and they condition your dog, and your dog learns commands, and then you come and pick up the dog and take the dog home without doing the proper amount of lessons. What just happened there? You just wasted your money. You just wasted your money because the dog won't understand a word that you're saying, and you're going to end up with a confused dog. And the thing of it is that most people that have an older dog, meaning usually, a lot of the dogs that I train are 8, 9, 10 weeks old. People that are smart, they get a dog and they're like, well, let's send it to Peter and he'll get the dog trained. He'll keep the dog for 90 days, a puppy like that, 90 days. That's how long I would keep a puppy. And then the dog comes back, and then they can step in and continue working with the dog, because training is the lifetime of the dog. So if you get a dog trained, like say it's an adult dog or whatever, it doesn't even matter if it's a puppy, and you just pick it up and you haven't done the proper amount of lessons with the dog trainer, you wasted your money. The dog won't understand a word you're saying. It'll be confused. And it'll get excited. And excitement is the point all dogs make a mistake. They bark, lunge, bite, or just don't listen. When somebody contacts me to train their dog, I always say the same thing. I've learned years ago that if they don't agree to doing the proper amount of lessons, I do not train their dog. I will not do it. The minimum, I say this, the minimum days that you need to stay in town for training is 3, and 4 is being smart. 4 is being smart. Just to learn leash technique, just to learn to hold the leash, is going to take a minimum of 3 days for everyone, it seems. Some people it takes more days. I worked with a basketball player in New York City, and the guy, I'm like, he's an athlete. He should be able to get this. He's not clumsy. He could not pick up the leash. It seemed like, we're going on the 4th lesson, and he just started picking it up. We had to do 5 lessons with that guy. You look at somebody with a dog that's trained and you go, oh, look, that looks easy, I can do it. No, it's not. It's not. I make it look easy. It's a fact. I make it look easy just because I'm used to doing it. And the dog's used to working around me. And the dog is familiar with my gestures and my tone. Loving a dog is not enough. It is not enough for the dog. It isn't. You have to train the dog. If you just love the dog and you think that things are going to go good, it doesn't. Dogs are labeled stupid constantly, and they're not. They're not stupid. The owners are stupid. They don't use a crate, and then the dog chews on something, and then it's the dog's fault, and then the dog gets hit. And they start having problems with the dog. The dog doesn't listen, or if the dog's off leash, it won't come to them. Why was it going to come to them? You hit the dog. You cannot hit a dog. If the dog doesn't come to you, this is common. The person with the dog that doesn't come when it's called, that's because they berated the dog. No matter what happens, if the dog is not paying attention, once the dog comes to you, you have to congratulate it. You can't be yelling at the dog, or else it's not going to come to you. And you certainly can't beat the dog, hit the dog after it comes. It does it. They don't think. They respond. They don't ponder thought like us. It's a huge problem. I'm talking about people that I'm related to, friends of mine. It's widespread. It is. It's widespread. People that are above average intelligence don't get it. That's a fact. They don't get it. Your dog functions, or can function, in two different ways. It functions instinctually and with trained commands, and all the instinctual shit is shit. You want your dog to function with trained commands. That's why you send the dog off to a dog trainer. But without you cloning yourself into the dog trainer, you wasted your money. You wasted your money. That's what you need to do. You need to use the same gestures, the same tone. You need to understand leash technique and what to do when you get a refusal, because you know what? Your dog, even a trained dog, is going to give a refusal. A trained dog that's been trained for 60 days or something, it's going to give you a refusal now and then. That doesn't mean that the dog is non-compliant. It's just non-compliant for that split second. If the dog has been worked with properly, when you say no and repeat the command, the dog becomes instantly compliant. That is the point where all dogs can go home after a board and train, when they are compliant. Like, say Gus here. Say I throw the keys on the ground and it gives me a refusal for a second. I say no, hold, and it becomes compliant. Therefore, the dog is compliant. Is he trained, and is like a dog like us, is it over? Could you just no, I'm telling you, it's the lifetime of the dog. If you don't work the dog in some kind of fashion daily, the dog gets in trouble. If you do not use a crate with a young dog, we're using Gus as an example, he'll eat the couch. He'll chew on stuff. He'll eat peaches in the pits and swallow them and end up in a hospital, in an ER. Dogs are, it's amazing. It's amazing that we live around dogs. They're ubiquitous. They're everywhere, on every continent except Antarctica. Canines are everywhere. And you know what? They're being put down everywhere too, because of nonsense. It's nonsense. You get your dog trained, you have to learn what you're doing. If you're in a situation where you're in the same town as the dog trainer, and the dog trainer brings that dog home, the dog trainer should be coming back the following day. And then the day after that. You would need to do 3 days in a row minimum. That's the way it has to happen. If you live in that town that the dog trainer is in, and the dog trainer brings the dog home and does one session with you and you never see him again, you wasted your money. That dog is going to be a fucking mess. You don't know how many times I've seen this. It takes a certain amount of time. And I'm telling you, the arrogant people that think that, oh, this is going to go fine, are the worst. They are. They're terrible. They're terrible. They don't know what they're doing with the dog. They get frustrated. It just goes bad for the dog. And then where's the dog end up? In a crate, in a shelter. Dog bites somebody. Dog's just confused its whole life and excited. You get the dog trained. You must do the appropriate amount of lessons with the dog trainer. One is not enough. minimum of 3 in a row. And then the dog trainer should definitely come back after a few days and do a fourth. I'm talking about if you're in the same town as that dog trainer. In my case, I'm clear with everybody I train their dog. Clear with everybody. Either they agree to it or I don't train their dog. You stay up here in a hotel and do lessons for a minimum of 3 days, and I suggest you stay for 4. Or you would be wasting my time. I will not train anybody's dog that will not do this. That is not how it works. You don't get your dog trained and then you don't have to do anything and the dog's going to listen to you. It's not going to listen to a word you say. It's not going to listen to one word that you say. You have to learn. You have to clone yourself into the dog trainer. And the other issue is that there's this point of excitement when the dog comes back. We'll use when I take a dog to the hotel. So the first lesson, the dog has to go through all the commands that it learned with me, all of them, before I leave. And we probably get some refusals during that first session, but we got the dog sort of functioning. But the dog is excited because they're back with the owner that was causing excitement, usually is the case, and causing problems the first time. But the owner, because they spent a certain amount of money, they do what they're told and they listen to me, and they keep the dog real low key in a crate. We come back and the dog is chill the next day, and then we start making some real good progress. Then by the third day, the owner's figured out how to use a leash properly, how to hold it properly. And if you think that is no big deal, your leash is your number one training tool. If you don't know how to hold it, I would say 99% of the people, other than in this live stream, Toxic knows how to hold a leash properly. Anybody else that's in this live stream that I've worked with them and their dogs, they probably know, but 99% of the people do not know how to hold a leash properly. Ask yourself this: do you use a leather leash? Because if you don't, you're doing it wrong. You can use leather or biothane. That's it. All the rest of them, the action isn't correct and the weight isn't correct. But you have to learn how to hold it. If you don't know how to hold the leash, you're going to be screwing up. The dog's just going to drag you around. You know that thing, that wrist hole? That's not for your wrist. It's for your thumb. It's for your thumb. It takes people 3 days to learn this. The only person that I've seen pick this up super quick is my girlfriend that lives here. It's the truth. In years, she picked it up the first day. Other than that, no one. Absolutely no one. And it has nothing to do with IQ. Nothing. I don't know if she watched a video of mine on how to hold a leash, or she's a good imitator or something, but she picked it up real quick. But it's not normal. You are not born knowing how to hold a leash. You have to learn it. Dog training, or knowing how to deal with a dog for a human, is not instinctual. It's learned. You have to learn it from someone. You're not born knowing how to do it. I learned it from my father. You can't watch a TV show and think that you know what you're doing. So if you watch Cesar Millan or something, you think that dog whisper stuff is dog training. It's not. It's crap, okay? Does he use any commands? No. This is bullying the dog around. It's nonsense. It's nonsense. Your dog, if you want your dog to be good, a good citizen in this human world, it needs to learn conditioned commands. That's it. That's the only way your dog's going to be safe. And if you have children and you don't heed my warning, you're an idiot. You're an idiot. Your kid will get bit. Your friend's kid will get bit. People are stupid. They are. They're absolutely stupid. I've had people contact me saying, well, the dog bit my friend's kid or something. I still I want them trained, but I want them to be protective of the house. Oh, okay. Sounds like that's going to work out real good. People are jerks to dogs. They are. They kill them with kindness. They do. It's just as bad as the overbearing owner is the owner that talks baby talk. You treat your dog like it's a dog. It isn't a human. And when I talk about punishment, I'm not talking about hitting the dog. You don't hit a dog. You hit a dog, you get a mess on your hands. You get a dog that doesn't listen to you. And if you talk baby talk, you're conditioning crap in. You're confusing the status of the dog. You get your dog trained, you need to do the lessons, the proper amount of lessons. And if you're working with a dog trainer that just brings the dog back the first day and it, isn't back the following day, you screwed up. Because each day that it has not gone over with that owner, the dog is being conditioned again to do the fucked up shit. And the shit that the dog learned while he was with the dog trainer is just being thrown out the window. I hope this makes sense. It might make sense to some people, but it's not going to make sense to a lot of people because that's the society that we live in. It's horrible, horrible for dogs. Love is not enough for the dog. You need to train the dog, and if you get the dog trained, you should be able to spend... Baby.
Yeah.
Don't go any farther. We don't want to get a community guideline strike. Do you want to... I got this. You distracted me, baby. Don't worry about it. But love really is not enough for the dog. I love her too. She's great. She was just sort of scantily dressed. YouTube wouldn't like it. I like it, but YouTube wouldn't like it. You know, those policies that they have. But it's just, it's unbelievable. It's on, yeah, toxic. Get rid of anybody that no, I'm not panning the camera around. She went in her room anyway. Well, that room. She's got 2 rooms. It's just nonsense. It's nonsense. So if you do feel like you want me to train your dog, know that I'm going to have this stipulation. I'm going to be very clear, and I'm very clear with that. Don't waste my time. It's nothing worse than wasting my time. If I think that you're going to waste my time, I'm not going to have anything to do with you. If you don't agree to doing a minimum of 3 lessons, I don't want to train your dog. So I don't want you going around saying that I trained your dog, because it's not going to listen and it's going to look terrible. It's going to look terrible upon me, and that's it. I don't want the dog getting in any trouble. So if you can scrape the money together and get your dog trained, or you have the money laying around and you think that it's a wise investment, and you call me, you want me to train your dog. When your dog comes back, you can't find 5 minutes in the morning or 5 minutes in the evening to train the dog, to drill the dog, doing commands. Why did you get the dog? Is it all about you? Is that what it's about? It's all about you, isn't it? See, that's the problem. People are unrealistic about dogs. Dogs, they're a working animal. You have to give them something to do. What, do you just want them laying around your house or screwing up, eating stuff that they shouldn't? You like your dog going up on countertops, eating food that's unhealthy for it? Oh, I don't want to crate my dog, but on the same hand, it might eat stuff that is really bad for it. There's all kinds of food in the kitchen that can kill a dog. Chocolate. Marijuana edibles is a huge problem since marijuana's gotten legal. Talk to my vet down there in Watkins Glen. Happens all the time. Chocolate is deadly to dogs. Avocado, grapes. There's a lot of food that might be good for you. That doesn't mean it's good for your dog. Wake up. Wake up. You want to get your dog trained? It's an investment. But if you have no discipline, and that's just it, people that with discipline do good with dogs. People that have zero discipline are the worst owners ever. So ask yourself, are you a disciplined person? Can you get up and go to work? Can you stop drinking? Can you stop doing the bad things that are bad for you and the people around you? If you can't, then you don't need a dog. You don't need a dog. Do you have a child? You want to get a dog? You don't have enough work. You want to get a dog. Think before you call me. Don't waste my time.